Aiden Cross wiped the coolant smear off his cheek with a sleeve that had given up on being clean sometime around the previous decade. Haven 12's cargo bay hummed, rattled, and groaned like the universe's oldest dishwasher. Sparks showered from a lift drone, someone cursed at a power junction, and Aiden's spine reminded him that 37 was far too old to crawl inside malfunctioning haulers for minimum hazard pay. Cross. Rizzo yelled from across the bay. If that stabilizer isn't done in 10 minutes, I'm declaring this entire dock a catastrophic failure. It's been a catastrophic failure since the day I got here, Aiden said, tightening the final bolt. You just never filed the paperwork. He slid out from under the hauler and exhaled. For one glorious heartbeat, he thought his shift was finally over, which was when the alarm sounded. Not the normal someone forgot the airlock again alarm. Not the we're all going to die if this isn't fixed in 5 minutes alarm. This one was deeper, older, like the station itself didn't want to admit what it was detecting. The cargo bay fell silent. Drones froze mid-hover. Mechanics held their breath. Aiden stood slowly. Oh, that's not encouraging. The lights dimmed. Something enormous slid through the docking field, silent, smooth, gleaming like liquid starlight. Its hull shifted colors like living metal, reflecting nothing and everything at once. No seams, no scorch marks, nothing that looked engineered. It looked grown. Someone whispered, "What class is that?" Someone else whispered, "What species builds that?" Aiden whispered, "How do I file a formal complaint about sudden heart failure?" Rizzo clapped him on the shoulder hard. "Cross, go check it out." Aiden stared at him. "Yeah, sure. Send the mechanic first. When in doubt, sacrifice the guy with the wrench." He grabbed his diagnostic kit purely for emotional support. The ship's ramp descended with a sound that wasn't a sound, a harmonic whisper that made the air feel too soft. Then she appeared, tall, graceful, and so stunningly beautiful that the entire dock collectively forgot how to breathe. She moved with a deadly elegance that looked like it had been practiced over centuries. Her suit, deep crimson threaded with shifting star patterns, hugged her figure like it had been woven from nebulous silk. Bioluminescent lines traced her cheekbones and collarbones in delicate blue-white arcs, highlighting skin that looked sculpted rather than grown. Her eyes, silver with a shimmering inner light, locked onto Aiden instantly. Her upward-swept ears were lined with thin metallic filaments, twitching subtly like living sensors. She wasn't human. But she was close enough for the brain to know she was beautiful and far enough to know she was dangerous. She stepped toward him, each movement so smooth it felt rehearsed by galaxies. "You," she said, pointing directly at Aiden. Her voice wasn't a sound so much as a layered, melodic ripple. "You appear to be the engineer." Rizzo fled the scene so fast he left a dust trail. Aiden cleared his throat. "Technician, engineerish. Depends on whether the union rep is here." Her lips curved by precisely 1 millimeter. "I require immediate assistance. My vessel's phase drive is destabilizing." Aiden blinked. "Phase drive, perfect. Quick clarification, what's a phase drive?" She tilted her head, not annoyed, more intrigued. "A spatial transition core using folded subdimensional geometry to..." So not something in my manual." That 1 millimeter smile grew to 2, maybe 3. "My name is Saris Valcor," she said, "and you are?" "Aiden Cross, maintenance specialist, part-time disaster magnet." "Noted." She led him into the ship. If the outside looked grown, the inside looked alive. The walls glowed with soft aurora light. Conduits pulsed beneath the surface like bioluminescent veins. The air smelled faintly of ozone and starlight, which felt unfairly dramatic. Aiden whispered, "Okay, yeah, this is definitely above my pay grade." Saris stopped in a chamber shaped like a blossoming star. At its center, suspended in shimmering energy, a core flickered violently, sparks of unstable light flaring like trapped lightning. "It is in cascade failure," she said calmly. "If the collapse completes, this station will cease to exist." Aiden swallowed hard. "Cool, good, love starting my shift with existential doom." His diagnostic scanner squealed like it was begging for mercy. And yet Aiden saw it, a bottleneck, an energy blockage, a flow disruption. "It's just plumbing," he said. Saris blinked, actually blinked. "Plumbing." "Fancy interdimensional plumbing," he clarified. "Your energy-s backing up here." She stared at him with a sudden softness, like she was seeing something she didn't expect. "Aiden Cross," she said quietly, "you..." The phase core thrummed like a caged storm, each pulse sending ripples of distorted light across the chamber. Aiden adjusted his grip on the scanner, and tried very hard not to think about how this single glowing sphere could atomize the entire station if it sneezed wrong. Sarah stood beside him, silent, composed, terrifying in her calm elegance. "The destabilization is accelerating," she said, watching the core with silver eyes that reflected every flash. "If you have a solution, I recommend implementing it with haste." Aiden snorted. "Great. No pressure. Just the lives of 800 people depending on a guy whose biggest accomplishment last week was unclogging a protein dispenser." Saris's ear filaments twitched. "Your sarcasm is a coping mechanism." "Yeah," Aiden said, leaning closer to the core. "Without it, I'd probably be screaming." He tapped the swirling energy with his scanner, and the device made a noise that should not have been possible for a piece of electronics. Something between a terrified whimper and a dying bird. "Okay," Aiden muttered. "This is worse than I thought." "Define worse." "This entire thing is basically, foaming." Saris blinked slowly. "Foaming." "Yes. Energetic backflow into your subdimensional lattice is creating cascade turbulence. And turbulence is basically," he paused. "Actually, turbulence might be too generous. This is like a dimensional drain clogged with cosmic hair." Saris stared at him as though he had just recited forbidden cosmic truths. "Your metaphors are unorthodox." "Your phase drive is unorthodox," Aiden shot back. "Look, I can fix this, but I need access to the modulation manifold." Sarah stepped to the control pedestal, her hands moving with fluid precision. Panels dissolved into shimmering light. "Access granted." "Thanks. If I suddenly scream, run. Please take that seriously." "I always take you seriously." Aiden froze. She said it simply without humor, mockery, or hesitation. And it hit him harder than it should have. He cleared his throat. "Right, okay, back to not dying." He stepped into the containment ring, feeling the air sharpen and tingle against his skin. The energy made his hair rise like static on overdrive. He crouched beside a pulsing conduit, pulling out his toolkit. Saris watched him with an expression he couldn't decipher. Admiration, curiosity, concern, all three. "Aiden Cross," she said quietly. "Most humans would run from this." "Trust me," he said, tightening a coupling. "I'm considering it." "But you do not run." "I mean, I've considered running from many things today. Work, responsibility, adult life in general. But this? Nah, someone has to fix it." A faint smile flickered across her lips, barely there. "Your courage is inconveniently admirable." "Inconveniently? For me?" Aiden blinked. Thanks, maybe." Before he could process that, the core screamed. It wasn't sound, just pressure, like reality itself tightening. "Aiden." Sarah stepped forward. "Don't," he warned, gripping the conduit as a surge rippled through the room. "The flux is venting." The chamber trembled. Lights flickered. The core erupted in a burst of unstable energy, and Aiden reacted on instinct. He slammed his wrench into the modulation node, redirecting the surge through a grounded plasma line. The lights snapped back. The trembling stopped. The core stabilized barely. Aiden slumped, breathing hard. "Okay, that was fun. Let's not do that again." Saris approached him slowly, her expression unreadable. "You diverted a phase-level energy cascade with a metal tool." "It's a wrench," Aiden corrected. "A very reliable wrench." She studied him like he was an ancient paradox. "Aiden Cross, you should not be able to do what you just did." "Well, good news," he said, standing. "I definitely shouldn't, but I did." She stepped closer, close enough that he could see faint star-like flecks in her silver irises. "You perceive patterns my people cannot." "Yeah, about that," Aiden said, scratching his neck. "Why are you looking at me like I brought you the meaning of life in a toolbox?" "Because," Sarah said, voice low and almost reverent, "the Asterion system has been searching for individuals capable of this intuition. And none have emerged. Well, I'm honored to be your first cosmic plumber." She didn't laugh, she smiled, fully this time. A rare, radiant, disarming expression that made Aiden momentarily forget that her ship could vaporize him by accident. "Aiden Cross," she said softly, "I believe I may have found exactly what I was looking for." Before he could ask what that meant, the ship shuddered. An alarm flashed across the chamber in an alien script he didn't need translated to understand. "Incoming contacts." Saris's face hardened instantly. "The sensors detect multiple signatures, large vessels, Imperial class." "Imperial," Aiden repeated. "Like Empire Imperial." "Yes, and they're coming here." Her jaw tightened. "They have found me." Aiden stared. "Found you, why would?" Saris took a breath. a steadying one, as the alarm lights strobed crimson across the chamber, washing Ceres's features in sharp, flickering color. For the first time since she'd stepped off her ship, her composure cracked, not fear but urgency. Aiden felt the shift like gravity changing directions. "They're arriving faster than anticipated," Ceres said, fingers flying across the control pedestal. Alien glyphs rippled in shimmering arcs. "Asterion dreadnoughts don't travel alone. There will be escorts, destroyers, carriers." "Right," Aiden said, gripping his wrench like it was a comfort object. "So, important question. Are they coming to pick you up or vaporize the station to erase the embarrassment of you needing a mechanic?" Ceres didn't answer immediately, which was not comforting. Instead, she said, "Aiden, we need to leave this chamber, now." "Great, love that. Nothing says relax like an imperial heir telling me to evacuate the room." The ship trembled once sharply. A gravitational pressure wave slid through the dock like a giant invisible hand. Aiden stumbled, but Ceres caught his arm with effortless strength. "Stay close." "That was the plan, believe me." They moved quickly down the luminous corridor. The walls pulsed with reactive energy as the ship switched to defensive alert. Aiden's footsteps echoed unevenly. Ceres's didn't echo at all. She walked like motion itself respected her too much to make noise. "Ceres," Aiden said, struggling to keep up, "you want to explain why your empire might obliterate an entire station looking for you. You didn't skip space, jury duty, or something, did you?" "I am the sovereign heir," she said calmly, too calmly. "My disappearance destabilizes political balance across 7 systems. My father's enemies will exploit it. My allies will panic. My fleet," a pause barely perceptible, "my fleet responds with absolute force. So this whole situation is basically a galactic missing persons flyer. That is one interpretation, yes." Aiden let out a breath, and here I thought today's biggest problem would be unclogging an air recycler. The corridor opened into the command chamber. The ceiling projected a live 360-degree holographic display of space around Haven 12. Aiden froze because the sky was gone. It had been replaced by warships. Dozens, no, hundreds of massive vessels dropped into real space, their hulls shimmering with the Asterion Imperium's signature prism shield glow. Dreadnoughts the size of floating cities, spearhead cruisers, veil carriers unfolding like metallic blossoms. Every ship bore the same insignia, a rising star crowned with 3 intersecting rings. "Oh," Aiden whispered, staring. "Oh, nope. That's too many ships. That's a fleet you send to flatten a continent. Why are they pointing at us?" Sarah stood tall, her expression smoothing into something regal, effortlessly commanding. "Because they believe I am in danger. Asterion protocol dictates overwhelming force to secure the air." "Yeah, well, overwhelming is definitely the right word." A wave of pale blue light rolled across the projection, targeting scans. Aiden swallowed hard. "They're scanning the station. Should I wave, hide, lay flat on the floor?" "You should breathe," Sarah said softly. "Working on it." The comm panel chimed, sharp and deep, like the toll of a ceremonial bell. A communication channel forced itself open with imperial override codes Aiden's human tech would never recognize. A towering figure appeared, an alien male in obsidian armor, lined with glowing circuitry. His posture radiated authority so intensely the hologram itself felt heavy. "Ceres Valcor," the figure said, voice booming. "By order of the Imperium, identify yourself." Aiden whispered, "Okay, so this guy definitely kills people as a hobby." Ceres stepped forward, shoulders squared, every inch the air of an empire. "This is Ceres Valcor, sovereign heir. I am unharmed." The hologram leaned forward, "Unharmed. You vanished for 13 cycles. The Council predicted abduction, sabotage, assassination. I was repairing my ship." The commander blinked. "With respect, Highness, how does repairing your vessel take 13 cycles?" Ceres glanced sideways at Aiden. Aiden raised a hand. "Hi, human mechanic, professional improviser, part-time interdimensional plumber." The commander stared at him as though trying to determine whether Aiden was a hallucination. "A human." "Yes," Ceres said simply. "Aiden Cross is responsible for stabilizing my phase core. Without him, I would not be alive." Aiden choked on air. "Okay, wow, phrase that differently next time." "I'm flattered, but this guy looks like he eats people." The commander's eyes narrowed. "Ceres, your father demands your immediate return. Prepare for retrieval. The station will be secured and possibly quarantined." Aiden felt his blood turn cold. "Wait, quarantined? like in the no survivors sense or the everyone gets politely detained for 3 months sense. Saris didn't look away from the hologram. Commander Varin, you will hold position. The air in the room shifted. Aiden felt it, the weight of sovereignty, her true power unfolding like a blade. Varin stiffened. Highness, you will not breach the station. You will not fire on it. And you will not take action without my direct command. Is that clear? The commander hesitated, then bowed his head. By your will. The hologram faded. Silence. Aiden finally exhaled. Okay, that was mildly terrifying. Saris turned to him. Aiden Cross, I must tell you something before anyone else arrives. He held up a hand. If you tell me you're secretly here to conquer humanity, I swear I'm hiding in a supply closet and refusing to come out. It is nothing of the sort. Good, because I'm too tired for a surprise invasion. Saris stepped closer. Very close. Her silver eyes softened, the glow inside them shifting like a star discovering gravity. Aiden Cross, she said, voice low. The reason I left Asterion space, the reason I came this far into the frontier. She took a breath, is because I was searching for someone like you. Aiden blinked, like me. What does that even? But before she could answer, the ship shuddered. Hard, an alarm blared, a different one, sharper, urgent. Saris spun to the console. Unauthorized boarding signatures, multiple. Aiden paled, boarding, as in enemies. Saris's jaw tightened. Elites, she said. Assassins, they followed the fleet. And then with the deck plates vibrated under Aiden's boots, each tremor sharper than the last. The ship's lighting shifted from crimson alert to a deep, predatory violet, an Asterion battle state he didn't need a manual to understand. Saris moved instantly, her posture shifting from regal heir to lethal combatant in a single breath. Her bioluminescent markings brightened, tracing sharper arcs along her neck and arms. Every graceful line of her body now looked coiled, dangerous, ready. Aiden, she said without turning, stay behind me at all times. He blinked. Yeah, that's not reassuring. It was not meant to be. Oh, perfect. A sharp metallic clang echoed through the corridor, then another, heavy, focused, deliberate. They're breaching the outer hull, Saris said. Varin's fleet brought them, loyalists to my uncle. They would prefer the air be removed rather than recovered. And by removed, you mean? Permanently? Aiden swallowed hard. Right, love being hunted by space ninjas on a Thursday. A section of the ship's wall rippled like liquid metal, then split open. Saris reacted first, grabbing Aiden by the front of his jumpsuit and dragging him behind a support brace as 3 figures phased through the breach. They weren't soldiers. They weren't even normal assassins. They were silent, armored in obsidian suits that bent light around them. Their eyes, blank white slits, scanned the chamber with calculated precision. Gravity distortion fields shimmered around their limbs, making their movements glide like living shadows. Aiden whispered, "Those are not regular enemies." Saris's voice dropped to a whisper so cold it chilled the air. "They are the Palebound, Asterion's deadliest covert unit." Oh, Aiden said, "Good, cool, love that for us." One Palebound tilted its head, listening, sensing. Aiden held his breath until his ribs creaked. Saris placed a hand on his chest, steadying him with an instinctive protectiveness that sent heat rushing through his face despite the danger. "Aiden," she whispered, "when I move, run." He stared at her. "Run where?" "Into the wall. There is a maintenance shaft behind this bulkhead." "How do you know that?" "Your diagnostic kit is leaking coolant." Aiden looked down. "Why does that matter?" "It only leaks during high-power magnetic sweeps. Those occur near subsystems, and the only subsystem near this chamber is the maintenance shaft," he finished. "Okay, wow, you're terrifyingly observant." Her eyes flicked to his, softening just a fraction. "I am observant when it concerns your safety." He barely had time to process that before she moved. Saris exploded forward in a blur of motion, elegant and ruthless. The nearest Palebound barely registered her before she drove a shockwave into its chest, sending it skidding across the floor in a shower of sparks. "Aiden, go." He sprinted toward the bulkhead she'd indicated. His diagnostic kit beeped wildly as he passed the hidden seam. He slammed the panel with his wrench, always the wrench, and the metal folded open like origami. Behind him, the corridor erupted into a flurry of movement, metal striking metal, the hiss of energy blades, Saris's low, controlled breathing, and the eerie, distorted hum of Palebound gravity fields colliding. Aiden crawled inside the maintenance shaft and turned just in time to see Saris unleash a sweeping arc of violet energy from her palm, knocking the assassins back. "Saris!" he shouted. Get in here. Her head snapped toward him. Their eyes locked, hers glowing fiercely, his wide with fear. Aiden, she said, breath quick but steady, I will not leave you unprotected. I'm trying to protect you. I do not need protection. You do right now. A pale bone surged at her from behind, silent, precise. Aiden's heart leapt into his throat. Seris. She pivoted too slowly. But Aiden was already moving. He grabbed the nearest piece of equipment from the shaft, some sort of conduit stabilizer shaped like a metallic tuning fork, and hurled it with everything he had. The improvised projectile slammed into the Palebone's head, disrupting its gravity field. The assassin staggered, a moment of imbalance so small it barely existed, but Ceres saw it and used it. She drove her elbow into the assassin's throat, following with a palm strike that sent a shockwave rippling through its armor. The Palebone collapsed, lights flickering out. Ceres turned to Aiden, expression unreadable. You saved my life, she said quietly. Aiden blinked. I threw something. That throw altered the outcome of combat. That is the definition of saving a life. Yeah, well, he exhaled shakily. You saved mine first. Kind of a team effort here. Her gaze lingered on him longer than before, too long. Another alarm blared, closer this time. They are regrouping, Ceres said. More will come. Okay, Aiden said, voice trembling. New plan. Hide, run, scream, repeat. Ceres approached him slowly, stepping into the narrow shaft entrance. Her presence filled the confined space, silver eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Aiden Cross, she said in a tone that was both urgent and strangely gentle, you must understand something. Is it that your family reunions are a nightmare? No, Aiden, you are not here by accident. He blinked. What does that mean? I will explain when we reach safety. She extended her hand. For now, trust me. He looked at her hand, steady, strong, glowing faintly with bioluminescent lines. The maintenance shaft groaned as something slammed into the sealed bulkhead behind them. Dust rained down from the upper panels. Metal bowed inward with a tortured screech, just slightly, but enough to let Aiden know exactly how strong the Palebone were. Ceres, Aiden whispered, I would love to pretend this is normal, but the wall is bending. Walls should not bend. Agreed, she said calmly, even as her bioluminescent markings brightened in protective instinct. Move quickly. The cramped shaft spiraled downward in steep angles, lit only by Ceres's soft glow and the occasional flicker from exposed conduits. It felt like crawling through the veins of a living creature, warm, humming, reactive to their presence. Aiden breathed hard, not just from exertion, from the nearness of her. The way she guided him with a hand on his shoulder, the way she kept glancing back, verifying he was still there. Behind them, something hissed, an unnatural static distortion. The Palebone are phasing, Ceres said quietly. They are trying to follow. Phasing, Aiden gasped, like through walls. Yes, that's cheating. They do not follow human rules. Yeah, well, maybe they should. Humans don't get to walk through walls. I can barely get through paperwork. Ceres's lips twitched despite their situation. Continue forward. They reached a junction where three shafts diverged, left, right, down. Ceres paused only a second before pointing downward. This leads to the ship's central harmonics chamber. There is a secondary exit from there that goes to the docking spire. Perfect, Aiden muttered. I always wanted to visit the harmonics chamber of a quantum-shifting alien ship with assassins behind us. Bucket list stuff. Ceres slid down the angled shaft first, landing silently. Aiden followed, less gracefully, landing with a grunt. She steadied him immediately, hands firm on his arms. You are uninjured. Only emotionally. That is normal for humans. While okay, hurtful but fair. She released him reluctantly, too reluctantly, and stepped toward the chamber's entrance. But the moment she touched the door, the entire ship pulsed. Aiden jolted. Was that normal? No, Ceres said. That was intentional. Intentional from who? Not me. The door dissolved into liquid light, opening into a massive circular chamber. Dozens of hovering crystalline structures orbited each other, connected by thin filaments of energy that vibrated in shifting wavelengths, like a cosmic harp. Aiden gasped, Okay, that's beautiful, terrifying but beautiful. The harmonics core, Ceres explained. It stabilizes spatial transitions when the phase drive is active. Without it, the ship collapses into dimensional fracture. Cool. Great place to be while being hunted. Ceres didn't answer. She was staring at something else. A projection, faint, ghost-like, hovered above the central platform, flickering, distorted. but unmistakably the form of a man with the same upward-swept ears, same bioluminescence, same regal stature as Ceres. Aiden whispered, "Is that?" "My father," Ceres said softly. The figure spoke broken, fragmented. "Ceres, if you see this, then you have reached abandoned territories, danger, trust only." The message flickered violently, then collapsed into static. Aiden turned toward her, but Ceres was already walking forward, expression tightened by grief she refused to show. "He sent this," Aiden said quietly, "because he thought you'd follow something." "Yes," she said, "because I was already searching." "For what?" She turned to him then, really turned, her silver eyes luminous in the glowing chamber. "For you." Aiden nearly forgot how to breathe. "Ceres, that doesn't make sense. You didn't know I existed." "I did not know your name," she said, stepping closer, "but I knew what I was searching for. A human with a rare cognitive pattern, intuitive resonance. Someone whose perception bridges dimensional logic. Someone who can see what trained Asterion engineers cannot." Aiden stared. "Ceres, I fix air recyclers with duct tape." "And yet," she said softly, "you stabilized a failing phase core with nothing but observation and instinct. Do you understand how impossible that is?" "Approximately 100%. Higher," he swallowed. "So I'm not just a lucky mechanic. No, you are the first confirmed human with interdimensional cognitive attunement. And my father predicted someone like you would emerge, someone I would need." "Need," Aiden repeated. "Ceres, we just met." Yes, her gaze was unwavering. "And yet I trust you more than half my counsel." He didn't know what to say. Fortunately, the universe saved him from answering. Because the harmonics chamber lights dimmed sharply, Ceres stiffened. "They are near." Aiden looked around wildly. "How near? Like hallway near or breathing down our necks near?" A metallic ping answered him. A faint distortion rippled through the air behind them. A pale-boned assassin phased through the wall, silently emerging from the crystalline structures like a glitch in reality. Its eyes burned white. "SCRIS?" Aiden grabbed her arm. More distortions appeared. 1, 2, 3. Ceres didn't think. She acted. In a surge of motion, she grabbed Aiden around the waist and leapt from the upper platform. Gravity inverted around them as the harmonics chamber's core activated, catching them in a downward pull. They fell, straight onto a lower platform that folded open like petals beneath them. Aiden landed sprawled across her, breath shocked out of him. Ceres rolled, positioning herself between him and the descending assassins. "Aiden," she said, voice low and fierce, "when I say run." I know, I'm already mentally panicking." "Good, because we are out of time." The upper platform cracked as the palebone dropped toward them. Ceres seized Aiden's wrist and sprinted toward the far edge of the chamber. The lift shot upward through the ship's inner spine, humming with a smooth, resonant vibration. Aiden clung to the side rail, trying not to look down into the vast, glowing depths below. Ceres stood beside him, still, focused, but with an energy beneath her skin that flickered like storm lightning. Her bioluminescent markings pulsed in sync with the lift's movement, casting soft waves of color across her face. "Docking spire is above," she said. "If we reach my personal shuttle, the fleet will stand down." "Right," Aiden replied. "Reach shuttle, avoid assassins, don't die, very standard procedure." Ceres's lips curved faintly. "You use humor when afraid." "Yeah, because screaming is frowned upon in professional settings." The lift slowed. The platform glided into a circular entryway, quiet, too quiet. Minimal lighting, no sound except the low hum of the ship's systems. Aiden felt a chill run through him. "Ceres, where is everyone?" "There should be automated sentries here," she murmured. "So you're saying." The lights cut out. Darkness swallowed them whole. Aiden's breath hitched. "Okay, hate that, really hate that." Ceres placed a hand on his back, steady, anchoring him. "Do not move." Her markings intensified, casting a faint glow. And then, a single white slit of light appeared in the darkness. A pale-boned eye. Aiden didn't think. He lunged sideways as Ceres shoved him behind a structural brace. A blade of condensed gravity sliced through the spot where his head had been seconds earlier, carving molten lines into the floor. "Ceres," Aiden shouted, rising. "Stay down," she barked, striking forward. Two pale-boned emerged from the shadows. Ceres met them head-on, movements fluid and brutal, using gravity currents like extensions of her own will. For every strike she parried, another came. The air crackled with distortion. Aiden crawled along the floor, desperately searching for something, anything he could use. His hands closed around a fallen stabilizer coil, useless for fighting. Perfect for something else. He yanked off the insulation panel and jammed his wrench inside the coil's core housing, modifying the magnetic alignment on pure instinct. "Aiden!" Saris grunted as she dodged a gravity slash. "Almost got it," he whispered. The coil vibrated violently, humming like an overcharged capacitor. Aiden braced himself, aimed at the nearest palebound, and slammed the improvised device into the deck. A shockwave burst outward, flipping magnetic polarity across the spire floor. The palebound staggered, gravity fields collapsing. Saris didn't hesitate. She grabbed the nearest assassin by the arm and drove him into the wall with a force that cracked the plating. The second barely recovered before her knee caught its throat, sending it crashing down. Silence followed, harsh, breathless silence. Aiden leaned against the console, panting. "Are they down?" "Yes," Sarah said, breathing hard herself. "Thanks to you." Aiden laughed weakly. "What did I even do?" "You disrupted their gravity matrices with improvised human engineering." She paused. "You continue to defy logic." "Well," Aiden murmured, "I've been doing that my whole life. Nice to finally get credit." She stepped toward him, closer than ever. Her silver eyes softened, filled with something raw and unguarded. "Aiden Cross, do you understand what you are to me?" "No," he said honestly, "but I'd like to." Saris lifted her hand to his face, a gentle, almost reverent gesture. "You are unique, rare. My people evolved through precision and discipline, but you," she smiled softly. "You see everything sideways. You find solutions where none exist. You change the outcome of today not by power, but by perspective." Aiden swallowed. "Saris, why did you really come to this sector?" Her fingers lingered at his jaw. "Because the prediction said if I did not find you now, I never would." He stared speechless, then a voice thundered through the chamber. "Seris Valcor." The lights flared back on, the bulkhead doors parted, and a towering figure in royal armor stepped forward, starlit cape flowing, bioluminescent lines pulsing like living constellations. The Emperor, Saris's father. Aiden instinctively straightened, not because he meant to, but because every molecule of the air seemed to demand it. The Emperor's gaze swept the room, paused on the fallen palebound, then fixed on Aiden with a weight that burned. "So," he said, voice a command layered in thunder, "you are the human who kept my daughter alive." Aiden's mouth went dry. Yes, sir, your Star Majesty." Sarah stepped forward, protective. "Father, Aiden did more than that. He repaired my ship, saved my life twice, and has shown insight beyond any Asterion engineer." The Emperor studied Aiden for a long, heavy moment. Then, he bowed his head to Aiden. Aiden almost fainted. "Human," the Emperor said, "you have my gratitude and my debt." Aiden blinked. "Your debt? Oh wow, that's definitely above my pay grade." Saris's father turned to her. "The council presses for action, rumors circulate. But you have returned, and with the one you sought." Saris nodded once. "Aiden comes with us." Aiden jolted. "Wait, what?" The Emperor raised a brow. "You object." No, maybe. I don't know, I'm just a mechanic. I can't just go to an empire." Sarah stepped close again, her voice soft but resolute. "Aiden, I need you. My empire needs you." And her eyes flickered, vulnerable. "I do not wish to return without you." Aiden looked at her, at the fleet beyond the spire, at the shimmering energy of her father's armor, at everything impossible that had happened in the past hours. And he realized something. His old life was small, too small for what he'd just survived. Too small for what he'd just discovered he could do, too small for her. Aiden exhaled. "Okay, but I'm bringing my wrench." Saris's smile was radiant. "I would expect nothing less." The Emperor nodded once. "Then it is done." The docking spire opened, revealing a royal shuttle surrounded by shimmering escort drones. Saris offered her hand. "Aiden Cross," she said, "come with me. There is a place for you in the heart of the Asterion Imperium." Aiden took her hand. Warm